In this video, we will demonstrate the ease of installation for the WaySafe heavyweight and middleweight distribution hitches. Prior to installation, be sure to download the WaySafe app or visit our website and read the entire manual. Make sure that you have all the correct tools and parts necessary for assembly. Park your trailer and tow vehicle on flat, level ground in line with each other. Be sure to follow all safety warnings for setup and use. Check your WaySafe gauge, as you will need to know your tongue weight in order to set your head assembly height in the next few steps. Level the trailer to be parallel to the ground. This can be done using a level or measuring the front and back of the trailer frame to the ground. With the trailer level, measure from the ground to the top of the trailer coupler. With that measurement, insert the appropriate size drawbar into the vehicle receiver. Depending on the height of the trailer coupler, the drawbar may need to be in the rise or drop position. Slide the head assembly onto the drawbar and insert the grade 8 bolts and washers into the correct holes to set the ball height. Generally, the ball height should be 1 to 2 inches above the coupler height. A good starting point is to set the tow ball 1/8 inch higher for every 100 pounds of tongue weight, but this may differ depending on the tow vehicle. Make sure to add both the washer and flat lock washer before tightening the nut. Torque to 150 to 320 foot-pounds. Save your height setup into the DTW Tool on the WaySafe app or on the website. Input both your drawbar position, rise or drop, and how many empty holes are visible above the top of the head assembly on the drawbar. For this example, we are using the drop position with half a hole visible above the head assembly. Locate the center line of where the trailer brackets need to be placed by measuring from the center of the trailer coupler along the trailer frame and put the mark at 32 inches on both sides. Sometimes there may be a frame member, propane mount, or battery mount in the way that can't be moved. In these cases, the trailer brackets can be moved forward closer to the trailer coupler to a minimum distance of 27 inches from the coupler center. Place one of the 1/2 inch by 3.5 inch carriage bolts through the top hole in the outside C-channel bracket and align it with the top hole of the inside flat bracket. Slide on the lock washer and thread on the nut a couple of turns. Slip the bracket over the trailer frame and line up the top bolt with the center line mark from the previous step. Tighten the nut until hand tight. Insert the second 1/2 inch by 3.5 inch carriage bolt in the highest open hole in the outside C-channel bracket under the trailer frame and press it through the corresponding hole on the inside flat bracket. Slide on the lock washer and thread on the nut until hand tight. Use the socket end of the lift arm or a 3/4 inch socket wrench and tighten the nuts. Be sure to alternate between the top and bottom nuts while tightening. Torque to 65 foot-pounds. Slide the spring arm platform into the outside C-channel bracket and set it to the correct height. The ideal height for the flat portion of the platform is 9 inches below the top of the trailer coupler. Once you have the spring arm platform set to the correct height, insert two 1/2 inch by 3 inch carriage bolts into the square holes in the outside C-channel bracket that lines up with the corresponding holes in the spring arm platform. Slide on the lock washer and thread on the nut on each bolt. Tighten to hand tight. Then use a 3/4 inch socket wrench and tighten the nuts. Torque to 65 foot-pounds. Repeat these steps on the other side of the trailer frame. Insert the spring arms into the spring arm sockets. Insert the clevis pin into the hole from the outside to the inside of the hitch. This will allow you to remove the pin even if the spring arms are close together. Secure the clevis pin with the attached wire. You will now need to use the DTW tool on the WaySafe app or our website to successfully fulfill the next steps. Input your gross trailer weight into the DTW tool. Gross trailer weight is the overall loaded weight of the trailer. Make sure your spring arms are pulled outward and back up the tow vehicle to the trailer. Lower the trailer coupler onto the tow ball. Lock the coupler and insert a safety pin for a secure attachment. Continue retracting the trailer tongue jack until it raises off the ground. Look at your WaySafe gauge and input your tongue weight into the DTW tool. Make sure your tongue weight is within a 10 to 15% of your gross trailer weight. You will now need to take 3 measurements of your towing system to get the correct DTW. To take these measurements, pull out one of the spring arms until the bar is perpendicular to the hitch head. This arm will be used as a base point to take measurements. Always measure using the side of the spring arm closest to the tow vehicle. Record the measurements in the WaySafe app or in your manual. Measure in a straight line from the rear vehicle axle center line to the spring arm. Next, measure in a straight line from the spring arm to the center of the trailer brackets. Last, measure in a straight line from the spring arm to the center line of a single axle or center line between multiple axles. Now that we know what our required DTW is, it is time to hook up the spring arms and distribute the weight. With the trailer still coupled to the tow vehicle, use the trailer tongue jack to lift both tow vehicle and trailer until you can swing the spring arms into place over the spring arm platforms. If you reach the highest level of the trailer tongue jack and the spring arms are unable to be lifted onto the spring arm platforms, you can use the lift arm to lift the spring arms onto the platforms. Use the L finger and L finger pins to secure the spring arms onto the spring arm platforms. Now that the spring arms are attached to the trailer, it is time to distribute your towing system using the DTW populated on the DTW tool. Before adjusting your lead screw, make sure to loosen the clamp bolt with a 3/4 inch socket wrench. Use the lift arm or appropriate socket wrench to adjust the lead screw until your weigh-safe gauge reaches the DTW number. Turning it clockwise increases the distributed tongue weight and counterclockwise decreases distributed tongue weight. Every few turns, jounce the trailer to reduce built-up friction points. Retighten the clamp bolt after adjusting the lead screw. Once the weigh-safe gauge has reached the required DTW safe zone, your system is now distributed. Connect the electrical cable, chains, and breakaway cable to the tow vehicle. It is important to note that the DTW will normally but not always read somewhere between 2 to 3 times your original tongue weight, which is allowed to be higher than your max tongue weight rating of your hitch. Do not pull your trailer without the DTW achieved. To ensure an intended lifetime of use, remember to always regularly inspect and maintain the true tow system according to the user manual instructions. Why be kinda safe when you can be way safe?